World Cancer Day is organized by the Union for International Cancer Control and is observed each year on the 4th of February, which is today. The theme for this year is I Am and I Will. This is to acknowledge that everyone has the capacity to act in the face of cancer. We're joined now in studio by Bayer's medical advisor for oncology, Dr Muneer Valley, to talk to us about the progress really and perhaps the prevalence of cancer in South Africa. Good afternoon to you, Doc. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for being here.
Most importantly, let's just look at the prevalence of cancer here in South Africa. So
cancer is it's one of the major diseases in the world, but in South Africa it is quite prevalent. I mean, we have approximately 115,000 new cases per year, and that is growing as it's not growing exponentially, but as the years go by, it gets more and more. Treatment-wise, there's also treatments that come with it. And that development of treatments in cancer is now also, I say, being in the forefront. We need to actually get a hold of this disease and actually try to beat it or overcome it, because when someone is diagnosed with cancer, it's more of an emotional disease and a very distressing disease. People lose hope very quickly because they are under the impression that once you have a diagnosis of cancer, your time here is very limited.
It's the end of the road, yeah. So it is strenuous emotionally as well as financially, but we'll get to the treatment part of things. So prostate cancer is the #1 cancer diagnosed amongst South African men. And the numbers are really a bit worrying here, because we know that men and doctors are not really friends. So the issue around early detection may be a problem here.
So a lot of the times there are many screening procedures, not just for prostate cancer, but for all the types of cancers. And it's actually very important to bring that to the forefront, that even though you have difficulty in seeing the doctor, make it known to yourself, with your family and friends, that those procedures are actually very simple to do. You don't have to go see a super specialist or oncologist to do screening procedures. They can actually be done in the ambit of your private practice, your general practitioner, and the awareness should be there. If it's in your family, speak to your healthcare professional, ask them what are the screening procedures, what does it actually entail, because cancer that is caught very early in the disease can actually be nipped in the bud, if I could put it that way. It can actually be cured. The longer you leave it, that's where the difficulty comes with regards to treatment. So yes, it is very difficult to pick it up, or very difficult to get people to see the doctor, but if they become more aware of the screening procedures that are available, it shouldn't be too much of a distressful situation.
Yeah, because I think it's important to change that mentality of men, because in most cases it's always us women who go for our regular checkups to check if everything is still okay.
Yes. So, and with men it shouldn't be any different. We possibly, we think we are immune to illnesses because we have to look after the family or do certain things, but once in a while you actually need to actually take a break, do your checkups, not necessarily screening checkups, but just the normal stuff, your hypertension, your diabetes, everything. Go for those tests, because if you work well and look after your body, you can actually be more productive.
So let's speak to a treatment now and cure perhaps for cancer, because as we were saying, that early detection remains key to your more successful outcomes when treating cancer, but also consumer empowerment is also very critical to ensure that the right tests are done timelessly to reduce unnecessary suffering and perhaps enhance your chances of cure.
So with that, it's best to take a multidisciplinary approach. You get all your stakeholders involved. Nowadays, if you're on a medical fund, you'll have primary care benefits, you'll have screening benefits that you can do, which doesn't actually come out of your savings. If you speak to the doctors, you need to inquire from the doctors, this is my concern about this type of cancer or that. Engage in rapport. The more rapport you have with your healthcare professionals, and the more certainty you have about whatever disease processes you are afraid about. Education is key to actually becoming aware of not just cancer, but also treatment of cancer and other diseases as well.
So school us a bit about genomic testing and perhaps also precision oncology. What are those two terms? What do they entail?
Okay, so when we talk about genomic testing, we normally talk about the DNA of the cell, and precision means targeted. So when cancer therapies first came out, we talked about what is coming around as radiation therapy, or even chemotherapy,
yeah.
right? So with chemotherapy, it doesn't discern between a cancer cell and a normal cell. So when chemotherapy is administered, people feel the effects of those. You get nauseous, vomiting, hair falls out, fatigue. And that is because the chemotherapy agent is working ubiquitously or throughout the whole body, not just at the cancer cells, but because cancer cells divide very quickly, they're very susceptible to it. Now, when it comes to genomic testing, what they're actually doing is they're actually looking at the DNA of the particular cancer cell. They want to see what it's made up of. And cancer cells basically contain a lot of mutations in the DNA and the genes, and that leads to the formation of certain types of proteins which only the cancer cells make. So genomic targeted therapy is sending a molecule specifically to that mutation and that specific protein. So you're not necessarily treating the whole body, you're only focusing your efforts on that particular cancer, and that will actually give you a much better result.
All right, so I believe that that is why it is important to get that genomic cancer test.
Yes, so when people are diagnosed with the cancer, tests are available in South Africa now to actually take part of that cancer, send it off, and they can actually, if there are genomic aberrations or problems, they can actually determine which ones they are, and in the future, which types of therapies are specifically for that type of cancer.
So what's the future impact of precision medicine and perhaps on clinical care and public health?
So what's going to happen is, as the technology grows, as we learn more about the cancers, because what we're doing now is we're looking at the DNA of these cancers, and that helps us to learn how do the cancer operate. That will actually lead us to develop more technologies and also refine our therapy so that when a diagnosis of cancer is actually made, it doesn't have to be a death sentence immediately. Okay, there is hope for those people. That specific targeted therapy will be for that particular cancer, and you can actually give them what they value the most in this world, which is more time.
But what does it mean? Are you going to need more money to get that treatment?
Well, research and development occurs incrementally. Okay, you'll have in your research and development process, you'll have positives and negatives, and as you grow with all your positive, or when you make a gain, okay, you'll need more input most likely to find out which direction should take. We don't know exactly which direction we should take when it comes to genomic cancers. I mean, if you look at the way cancer therapies have been studied, it's now looking further and further into that. So yes, there will probably be more investigations, and the innovative countries are actually going to take that risk to look for that, to ensure that when it comes to therapies, those therapies are available.
Well, interesting indeed. Well, we have to leave it at that, but thank you so much for coming through.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, well, there you have it. That's Dr. Muneer Valley. He is a Bayer's medical advisor for oncology, talking to us about cancer today being the World Cancer Day, but looking at precision oncology as well as some genomic testing when it comes to cancer. In the third hour of the show, we'll continue the discussion on cancer, but we are now taking a quick break. We'll have your sports news shortly.